So today's would be the first talk, and this initiative of us stemmed from the very idea of wanting to see our juniors placed well abroad in our near future. And as many of the juniors were our previous students, and there are some more people who have joined today whom we will be knowing today. So it would be good to see so many of our juniors placed abroad in the very near future. The discourse will be provided by Eknath Sharkar. I personally know Eknath Sharkar for more than a decade now. Let me introduce you all to Eknath Sharkar. Let me just give a very short introduction to who he is. Eknath passed his bachelor's in physics in 2016, and then that was from Calcutta University. And then he went to Jadavpur University to study MSc in electronics, where he turned out to be a gold medalist of his batch in 2018. So then in 2018, he went to Taiwan and he joined a job in Young Optics Incorporated, where he worked as a senior process development engineer. And there he worked for 3 years, and he worked up close with tech giants such as Apple Inc., etc. And after doing a job there for 3 years, he decided to join a PhD in NTU, Taiwan, in the Department of ECE. He joined the PhD in the field of transistor and logic technology, and thereby in next 3 years, from 2018 to 2021. Yeah, you're saying something? Oh, so in next 2 years, from 2021 to 2023, he had been publishing around five conference papers where he was first author, and six conference papers where he was co-author, and around two first author papers in journals and three co-author papers in journals. Also, there is a US patent which is in review in his name. So, summing it all up, in 2023, he decided to then move into US. So, he applied and he has qualified as an incoming PhD candidate in EC Department of Georgia Tech, US, where he would be joining in fall 2023 in the Department of EC. So, let me not waste any more time. I think that's quite an introduction. Let me hand over the mic to Eknath Sharkar, who will be providing discourse today. So, Eknath, I'm closing my video and my mic right now. You can take off.
Okay. So hello everyone, good evening. And as Debo mentioned, this will be, so the general idea behind today's talk is to help students get a good PhD positions in overseas and wherever they're dreaming for or they are aiming for. So let me share my screen and oh, one more thing before I share my screen. We will have a Q&A section after I'm done with the slides. And whenever you have a question, just write it down in chat. We are keeping the medium of this talk in English because there are uh, some participants who are from other states of India and some people from outside India. So this is our title of the talk, how to, as I mentioned, how to approach an overseas PhD. What are the things, important things that is related to your application? And I am your speaker today, Eknath Sarkar. Okay, let's get going. So today's agenda is to cover some basic things and give you a general idea about the overseas application. And the first things first, we'll start with asking a question that are very important of doing anything or solving a problem is first ask the important question that do you really want to do it? And then I'll show you some bright side of PhDs that some statistical data that's over present over the internet and we can get our hands on. And what is the application spectrum in the timeline for fall applications? Search for the match means how do you search your perfect place or perfect lab, perfect advisor. I'll give you a brief idea about that. The white elephants, GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, the things that you will cost you a lot of effort and lot of time and will only be needed for your application. That's the SOPs, the one of the most important thing for a overseas PhD, your statement of purpose, and LORs, letter of recommendations from your advisor, current advisor, your teacher, and so, and the budget, how much monetary budget we are looking at when you try to apply overseas. That can be different countries, starting from US, Europe, or Taiwan among India. So we will go through that. So in the registration, I asked you guys a question that what are your dream universities? So I made I look at the numbers, count them up, and I find that most of the universities that are among the dream universities, 45% of the dream universities come from US, about 28% from Asia, sorry, and Taiwan alone has 13.2%. That's something quite interesting. Europe it's about 20.4%, and there are some answers that people say that don't have a dream, or I don't know what university I joined. That's totally fine. That because knowing just having a dream, but maybe your dream university doesn't have a perfect match for you in terms of your research. Not knowing is also fine, because we will go through. That's the idea of this talk. And others, like from some, there are some universities people mentioned from South Africa and from Middle East, and okay. And what is the most chosen dream universities? Okay, can you make a guess which university is this? You can write it down in chat. You can make a guess. I'll maybe give you guys try to answer this for 10 seconds or so. Okay, so this is Stanford University of US. And what is the most you can say most interesting thing about this university for graduate studies, like for your PhDs or for your masters, is the acceptance rate is only 5.2%, and that's totally fine. That's why we are having this talk today, to make you feel that you can achieve anything, and actually to give you that knowledge that you need to go for your suit for your dreams. Okay, so do you really want to do it? So 5 things to you need to consider uh, before you answer this question. Yes, I want to do it. For overseas PhD, I find these 5 things are most important: commitment, motivation, expectations, vision, and reality. If we go through the specific question on each of these sections, that commitment, it will take you 3 to 5 years. Motivation, what's your motivation behind a PhD? Why a PhD? You can have a job, and so what are your expectations during your PhD and after your PhD, industry, academia, where you see yourself. And does your future, like 20 years from now, do you the person that you will become, does he or she, that person, need a PhD to be there? This is the most one of the most important questions to ask yourself. And reality check, and overseas PhD means there will be cultural shock. I can really give you some hands-on experience about that, because I have been in Taiwan for last almost 5 years. So there will be definitely cultural shock. There will be language barrier. If you go to a English friendly environment, that language barrier will be much lower, but there will be some. And there will be no family support. So this is not to make you feel don't be afraid about that. Let's see some bright sides. Now we have seen that what are the things we need to ask ourselves. Let's see some bright sides. So first things first, money. Okay, according to the average income of US graduates, because that's the most easily data that I can get my hands on, the PhDs earn about 1.6x of the compared to a bachelor, and about 1.25x about a master's. So, and if we see at the unemployment, PhDs have lowest unemployment, like bachelors or masters has twice, and bachelors have 3 times the unemployment compared to PhDs. And leadership. So why if you want to be a leader in your industry, like a role of manager, a director, a vice president, or even higher, that percent of individuals that are in the manager position is the most from PhDs. And So this is after the bright side of your after PhD. And during your PhD, I just want to mention that in most of the PhDs overseas are funded, fully funded, means you will have your tuition fees covered and you will get a GRA, graduate research assistantship, or GTA, teaching assistantship. And in particularly, I have put the number for US over here, that starts from 24K and goes up to 50K. Depends on where you, because in US some certain cities have very high cost of living, like New York, California. These have very, so they need to give some high stipends over there. And these data are related from STEM only. Okay, so next is the application spectrum. So as per your timeline, what are the things that is most important for your application? And if you look, so okay, first thing, I have made it here for the fall only, because there are some important reasons and practical reasons behind that. Fall takes the most number of applicants, means the most number of offerings for PhD that university gave is in the fall. Okay, the most number of universities that allow a PhD application are in the fall. So there are only handful universities uh, who allow a spring application. So, and most of the fundings come in is given on the fall. So that's why I have kept here the most common thing for fall applications. So if we look if we go or shoot for fall applications, we need to complete three things. First, we need to find out where are we going to apply. So that's here, search for the match, and it can take 3 to 4 months. That includes the lab shorting. What is your potential research group or research lab and university? Maybe you have a dream university, as I mentioned earlier in this talk, that maybe you have a dream university, but that university doesn't have a good match depending on your research expertise. And then after having this two sorted out, what are the top five? Maybe you have 10 matches, 15 matches, but normally people doesn't apply for 10 or 15 university. That's too tedious, and that's a uh, lot of investment, I would say. Normally people go for like 5 universities, maximum 7 universities. Okay, and as you know, GRE and TOEFL are integrate part of US application. For other countries like Europe, like Taiwan, there are certain universities who would need a English proficiency like TOEFL, IELTS. Certain universities who would not ask for a English proficiency. Okay. Uh, okay. Okay. Sorry. So there are participants still joining. Okay. Okay. So how much the GRE prep would take us? This is shows here the TOEFL prep. I'll go through the timelines later on, and then comes the application. And I have made a point or red star in December 1st. I'll show you later on why December 1st. And in application, you have general info that you need to fill your biographical information, your educational background, your expertise, and all the information, and LORs, letter of recommendations, SOPs. And I have kept one slot for backup TOEFL and IELTS and GRE, that you on the first attempt maybe you don't have the score that you are looking for. And around middle of starting from middle of Jan to beginning of April, you can have the application decisions. So this whole spectrum lie in between beginning of May to the beginning of December. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months that you need to like give or occupy for application. So this is a long process, a tiresome process, and needs a lot of manual hours. Okay, so starting how why it takes 3 to 4 months for a search for the match. My personal experience, when I search for US universities, for one university, it will take you around 3 hours to look to know to decide are you going to apply, or to first judge that how much match you have. So if you have like one, if you look for 100 universities, then it will take you 300 hours. So if you do 5 hours, then it will can take up to 2 months, and you will not do every day. No, I don't think anybody here can do it every day. There will be some occasions, some things, some schedules that you need to delay it for. Okay, and GRE TOEFL preparation. The most important questions to ask here is when you should be done with your GRE and TOEFL. So GRE is a harder thing to crack compared to TOEFL. So I have kept here a longer, like 2.5 months is the standard time people prepare for GRE, because most of our applicants here come from a STEM background. So I am assuming you are good with basic mathematics and basic logic. So it will take you only like 2 to 3 months maximum to get it prepared done. And then you take the first time GRE around the beginning of August, and within 2 weeks, you'll have your score. And when you are almost done, 70 to 80% done with your GRE prep, you start your TOEFL prep. And when you are already doing GRE prep, your TOEFL prep will become easier for you. That's my personal experience for preparing both of the exams. Now the application you can start when these two are done, because these when you apply for 5 universities, they need many kind of document. You need to fill up many applications, and it takes just time. It's not a hard thing, but it just takes time. So that's why I advise that you should be done with your with these two exams before you start the application actually. And that will make you clear that what applications, which exactly out of your choice universities you can actually shoot for, because maybe you are short of few scores that from your dream university. That's why I kept a backup here. So, and December 1st, so let's go to the next. So here I have show you normal distribution of fall ECE, electrical and computer engineer deadlines. So every program like physics, chemistry, chemical engineering, uh, electrical engineering, some other engineering, mechanical engineering, their application deadline vary, but very slightly, maybe couple of days. If EC is having December 1st, maybe mechanical engineering having their deadline on December 3rd or so. But it is have you have very low probability that one of the department among engineering have a application deadline December 1st, and another one have in like January 1st or so. That's not usual to happen. So for EC deadline, most of them, like more than 80, I took a data size of 100 top universities in US, and see make this distribution and come out most of them having December 1st. That's why I made in the last slide December 1st is the date you were looking for. Okay, and application fees. So the average application fees is $76 in US dollars, and that can up to range up to $120. I have seen like in California schools like UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, UC Los Angeles, and most of the California schools have a higher application fees from $100 to $120. Others are range from 60 to 80 or $90. Okay. Next is we are going to have to let you know how to search. I think this is the first thing, the most basic thing that you can have a PhD is how good a match you can find. And how good a match you can find depends on what's your strategy of search. So this is a slide, a screenshot of my slide that I used for judging that do I need means am I going to consider this university for application. Okay, so because I'm joining 2023 fall, or my target was last year was 2023 fall when I am searching. So, and grad school review, and for Georgia Tech where I'm going. So I show you this example. Okay, so On the top left, I keep some details about the university, that how's the university rank, what's the GRE cutoff, and is it waived or not, what's the TOEFL cutoff with each individual sections, is what kind of documents they required, and what's the application fee. So that's give you uh, some details. Okay, important things: what's the application deadline, closing time, document upload deadline, and some scholarship application deadline, and blah blah blah. So some important dates. Okay, now coming to, I have I made this kind of table where I put the department, name of the and email of the professor, and then I see and go through each and individual professor's lab and what's their research activity and how much match they have with my interest, and the email status. So why this is important? Because when you search for 100 of universities, and if you like, one university can at least average give you 3 to 4 professors, that like 400 emails. So it's very hard to keep a track. Have you sent the email, and what's the status of their reply? It will get means messy, I would say. So to show some color coding that I use, so if I just look at the slide, I don't need to think that oh, I send the email or what's the status. So that's why I use the color coding. And important links, this is most important. This page will means this part will become most important if you are really going to apply for the university, because when you start application, there will be this document, that document, there will be some details about and where to find the link. It will be because you are applying at the same time multiple universities, so it will be a very hard thing to keep an order or organize. So I keep all the important links of this university in a short table. Okay. And how do I judge the university that I'm going to apply, or is it considerable with my research interest or not? I made a research index, research interest match index. So depending on how many professors that I have there, and depending on how much individual research interest that I have matched with them, each of them, I uh, made a personalized scale to show that university's labs in electrical and computer engineering has this much research interest match with my expertise or my interest. So as you can see, so after you have made like hundreds of this slide, you don't have the time to go through each and individual slide to decide which 5 or which 6 universities or which 3 universities that you are going to apply. So this scale will give you, okay, so you can short first when 100 slides are made and ready for you to revisit them. You will look at just this scale, and okay, and then you will decide, okay, this 10 universities has over 60% match with my research interest. And then when it become 10, then you can go into more deeper, or get into more detail, and then you can decide which 5. But from 100 or 120 to 10 or 80 to 10, that part will be done by this kind of, that you can make your own. So this kind of format worked for me personally. Next, we will go through the GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, and why I call it white elephant, because I haven't find any other application of GRE and TOEFL or IELTS, this kind of exams rather than applications. It's just needed for your application and just to show the score. And then it means for preparing for this kind of exam, you need a lot of time. Why time? They are not hard, but they are tricky. So you need to practice a lot. So that's why you need time, and you need a lot of money. And so it takes time and money both, but it just gets used for your application. And once you are accepted, he had no use. Exactly, means once you are in the first semester, they might ask, oh, we are the university might ask you how much score you have, and depending on the score they might give you a teaching assistantship or so, but that's all. For except the application, you will not get any other use. That's so that is something which takes a lot of effort but doesn't give you return. So that's a white elephant. Okay, TOEFL. So what is TOEFL? TOEFL is a standardized test for English language to know, to access your English language proficiency. And what is the structure of TOEFL? TOEFL had 4 sections: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So you will be tested on each section with with a scale of 30. So the total score is 120. Okay, and what is a good TOEFL score? That's these 5 questions are basically the most common questions about TOEFL that I could find on internet. So when I was thinking that what should I let you know about TOEFL, so I searched in internet that what are the most common questions and on TOEFL, that when a beginner is starting and they don't know about TOEFL, what are the questions that comes to their mind? So I could imagine of these 5. And what is a good TOEFL score? To know that, we need some statistics. So this is a TOEFL score by native language, because different native language people get the means take the exam. So I have highlighted, I could find 2 of the native languages that are spoken in India: Hindi and Bengali. So you can see their average score is around 93 and 95. And so I say, what is the minimum score required for top 100 universities in US? And that is 84. So you have a pretty good shot at that. Means I think we Indians did well in TOEFL. That's the data speaks. Okay. Oh, and sorry, most important, and how we can prepare for TOEFL. So I have a upcoming webinar in next month or next couple of months, where we will go through the strategy. I'll not teach you the English, but I will go through the strategies that you can take for TOEFL. Because if you try to, there are 2 ways to crack an exam. Either you use brute force, means like you know every vocabulary possible in that on that exam. You are a very good English speaker, you are a very good writer, and that you don't need any preparation. That's called a brute, I call it brute force, because you already have English on your on means inside you. And there are some things like students who is similar to us, I mean me, who came from a native Bengali language, and their school was in Bengali medium, and how they can mastery and have the highest possible score from their potential. So that is the, what are the strategies that you need to put minimum effort but get the maximum output possible. So I'll give you those strategical insights about TOEFL in coming webinar. And how much it cost in India? It cost around $200. That's 16,000. That's not a cheap exam. That's quite expensive. And my general advice, when you go take exam, if you are not prepared, don't take TOEFL, because it costs a lot of money. So when you are absolutely sure that I want to take it, or you are fully prepared and you can feel that you are prepared, then only go for TOEFL. Okay, the second white elephant, GRE. Okay, GRE is also a similar exam in TOEFL, like structure wise, but here are 3 parts that are tested, that has a verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, and analytical writing. So TOEFL was only for language, and this has reasoning in it. Okay, and what is a good GRE score? So although GRE have 3 sections: verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, and analytical writing, most of the weighted 2, means the 2 scores that are looked at during your application are the quant and the verbal score, means quantitative reasoning and verbal reasoning. So out of a 170 scale, the average TOEFL, average GRE quant's minimum score required is 154 in quant, and 143 or 144 in verbal. And what is the, I also take some statistical data from ETS, their website. ETS are the body or the organization who made this who are the in charge of taking this exam. Basically, these exams are their product. So on a number of around 1.3 million test takers, the mean data shows that a verbal reasoning score of 150 and a quantitative reasoning score of 154. So again, it looks like the minimum score requirements and the average scores are higher. So you have pretty good shot here as well. And how much it's cost, how to prepare for GRE, again the strategical techniques I'll discuss in coming webinar in along with TOEFL. And how much is cost? It costs slightly more than TOEFL, around $228. That translate to about close to 19,000 INR. So this is not a cheap exam as well. And only take the exam when you are absolutely confident that you will get a good score. Next, we have SOPs. So the basic rule of overseas application is they don't know you, they haven't seen you, they don't know you personally. So the only thing they know about you is your grades, your achievements, your research interest, or your research papers if you have. So statement of purpose give you the way to express yourself in front of the people who will be judging your application and haven't known you personally. So that's why in mainly in US application, statement of purpose is a very, very critical thing. So there is a saying for US application that if you don't have a good grade or if you don't have a good GRE or TOEFL score, your SOP is the only thing then means that can cover your back, basically. So SOPs, I would say, is one of the most important thing for the application. So what is a SOP is we can have a let's say it's a goal oriented personal essay. And goal oriented, the most important thing is goal oriented. So in the SOP you must have clearly written or mentioned your goals. Why the statement person in application? Because as I mentioned, that is basically speaks for yourself, who you are, what do you want from that, and what you have to offer for them. Basically, my personal feeling about US universities, that they try to see that they are giving you fund, they are giving you the opportunity to research in one of the best places in the world in academics. If you go by rankings, then what do you have to offer back to them? If your SOP says that, okay, I am fit for this academic research platform, and I can give something back to that university, I can add to its prestige or I can add to its value, then that's a good, then you are basically saying that I can take this university on its course towards more higher positions. So you have something to offer for them, not only that you get a good education from there. So that's you are getting, you have something for them to offer back. So that's the most important thing. And what should be included in the SOP? So you can have career goals, academic achievements, relevant experience, motivations, and how long. So some universities will tell you that you write your SOP within 2 pages. Some will mention within 1,500 words. Some will mention within 1,000 word. And like for Georgia Tech, it was 1,000 word. For I applied for other universities like Penn State. They said should be 1,200 words. So it is either 1 to 2 pages or 1,000 to 1,500 words. Okay, how do I structure my statement of purpose? So the general structure is introduction, your background. First, introduce yourself, who you are and what you want for them. And background, experience, goals, fit. This is very important. Not only, maybe all four are very good. The top four means I have seen SOPs that are, sorry, that are very good on the first four, but They don't say that how does they fit the program. They just say, okay, I have one physics olympiad, one chemistry olympiad, or five journal papers, and I have a very good research match, but that's it. So that's saying what you are. You're like bragging about yourself or flexing about yourself, but you don't state clearly how do you or your knowledge fit into that specific program. Then I have seen that kind of applications get rejected. And conclusion, so that's saying all the things that you mentioned in the above five in one paragraph, short paragraph. And hand rules, that about writing an SOP, you need to clear and concise, tailor for each program. That means when you are applying for Stanford, or when you are applying for Caltech, those two SOPs should be different. uh, Sorry, 40, 50, or 60% can be same, because you are who you are. You cannot change the information about yourself, but you can change how you fit to that program. So that can be tailored. So you need to tailor each of your SOP for that specific application. You should be very, very clear about your goals, and proofread multiple times. I have written here n times, so I don't know how many proofreads you need. Like for me personally, I make a lot of typos, so it need a lot of proofreads for me personally. And sometimes what happens to me, like I am thinking about writing a sentence, but maybe while writing I will skip some words. So this kind of thing happens to me, so proofread multiple times. And next, I think the funniest question that we can ask here, all of you may already know about ChatGPT. So can we write SOP using ChatGPT? And I'll show you guys how to use ChatGPT for this kind of academic writing or essay writing or personal writing, how you can use the ChatGPT for your benefit. Don't make it don't make it sound like that the whole essay is written by ChatGPT, but you can always use that help of ChatGPT. And for tailoring, yes. For framing, yes. Content should be yours, and it will just help you to build a stronger SOP. So yes, I'll show you how to do it in the next seminars. Okay, and still participants are joining. Okay, now letter of recommendations. Okay, letter of recommendations. Five things, six strategies to for letter of recommendations. Timing. So professors are very busy. Yes, and because when I approach professors, I know, because I'm working under my advisor here, so I know him very closely. So I know how busy they are. They're terribly busy. So give them ample lot of time to process that LOR for you. And pro tip is give them a month. When if they ask you to send a draft for the letter of recommendation, you send, and then they will trim it for you, they will add or edit, and then they will submit. But at least give them a month before the deadline. Okay, selection. So there are two kind of strategies that you can take. Are the professors who know you well personally for a long time, and there are professors with a bigger name, bigger prestige, or bigger brands. So which one to choose from? Third one is context, is provide every details about you. So this is also a personal recommendation for you guys. On internet, the most of the LORs that you will find on Google saying graduate application recommendation letters format, if you look that up, you will find very glorious letters of recommendation that but are generalized. And what I mean by generalized is saying, oh, this student is one of the best student I have in my life. So best is good, means, but it's not a quantification or how good you are. So, and this is the means there are some other general terms like this. He is very determined. How determined? So in SOPs, always the university or schools or the persons who are reviewing your sorry LORs, they always like quantification from professors and confidentiality. So for applications, either sorry, you can waive your right to see what they are writing for you, or either you can waive or you don't waive. That's it. Follow up. So this is very important because professors, as they are busy, they tend to forget because next thing always coming up and they pile up. Means works get piled up in their schedule. So remind every 7 to 10 days, just so just a one line, and they don't like to read long emails and say, okay, I send you last week, that was important, or blah blah blah. Just send us a gentle reminder, kindly have it done, or kindly have a look, something like that. Gratitude, and always this should be your core competency. Gratitude towards your professor, towards your friends, towards your family, everyone. So the most important two things that I mentioned: selection. So keep in mind that you need 3 LORs from US application. For other sorry, for other countries like Europe, for Taiwan, some university need 3 LORs, some university need 2 LORs. So the most I have show you here, the most number of LORs that you need is 3. And context. So how to give the professor context, because you can choose a professor who knows you well, then context is relevant in that case. And some professors whose name is big, but maybe they are not as close as other professors to you. So how to, because you haven't spent so much time with that professor, that there is a context. So how to strategize. So I'll show you how to make this kind of approach towards professors, and how to find a balance between the professors who know you well and the professors with a big name. Both are important for application. And the last thing that we have is the budget. So in terms of monetary budget, how much we are looking at. Okay, so I have made a minimum and a realistic cost sheet here. For applications, normally people used to do 4 to 5 applications. I have seen on minimum side, if you take 3 application, and on maximum side, if you take 5 applications. And how what is that number I get from? That's the average application fee that you get from the distribution. Sorry. And GRE, you kind of take, you can have the best score that you look means that you targeted for on your first attempt, or maybe sometimes you can need one more attempt. And TOEFL, same goes for TOEFL. And you will need to take your degree transcript certificates from your host university, undergrad or master's university. So depending on that, they need some kind of fees to take to produce this kind of document. So for minimum side, with 3 applications, one of each GRE and TOEFL, you are looking at a cost of around 56, close to 60,000. Or a more realistic approach, you are looking at a cost of more than 1 lakh. And so based on the current transaction, based on yesterday's transaction value from USD to INR. So this might sound like a lot of investment, but let me tell you that you are most likely to be fully funded by your PhD program, and your GRA and GTA will range from 24 to 50K a year. So that translates to sorry, 20,000 sorry, $2,000 per month, about up to $4,000 per month. So that is kind of the investment you are getting, you are doing, that you will get back within a month after you start your PhD journey. So keep it in mind, I'd say. Okay, so we have a few upcoming webinars now that I told you about the general idea, and we will have some more specific webinars. And first is the for your PhD, a roadmap to, these are the topics and titles: So these are kind of fancy topics that we can think of, titles that we can think of. So the first one basically gives you the strategy, which applications that you should do. Means there is always some negotiation that you need to do with yourself, that okay, this is my dream university and this is my potential. It's very critical to know about your own potential, that oh, there is some universities in the list of my dream universities that are above my potential, and there are some university which match my potential. So which five to look for if you have selected down 10 more than 5 universities. So this is a strategy, but because this can make you your success rate or your acceptance rate higher basically. And then there are I'll talk about in one more in TOEFL and GRE, and then there will be two more dedicated webinars, one on SOP and one on LOR. So you can find all the details and the registration link and the details about all four these topics in the link associated with this QR code. Go and visit. Haven't been updated in the page yet, but will be done in next a couple of days and or so. So you can take a screenshot of these, and I will be happy to see you all. And that being said, we are done with the talk, and now let's have a Q&A. And thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you everyone for registering. And I hope all of you will show up in our next webinars, that we will keep our webinar costs so that everybody can join. As you know, we have kept some basic registration fees. That is just to ensure that once you pay the money, you just show up. It's good to have your EL rate higher. Like if there are 70 participants who register, it feels good if you see all 70 of them. So this is just to make ensure that one.